been in this business a really, really long time. I graduated from UMA with a bachelor's degree in English, so a lot of people will say, how the heck did you come from a bachelor's degree in English to working in financial aid and financial education and debt management? I will tell you to put a plug in for the federal work study program. If you're someone who's been eligible for federal work study, or ever becomes eligible for federal work study, take advantage of it, because that's really what led me to this career path. I worked into admissions and records and then financial aid. You either love it or you hate it, and I loved it. So this place is really near and dear. And as Tony said, I walked through this, the smell comes right back. Faculty, to this day, all these years later, the faculty that I had here are just some of the most amazing people I've ever encountered. So very, very lucky to be graduated with UMA. I worked here for about 5 years, and I left UMA and went to the financial aid office at College of Atlanta and spent several years there. And then I worked at the University of Maine for 7 years, also in financial aid. So a very sort of very diverse background in terms of financial aid. And the reason that's important is because I've worked with a lot of students and families on financial aid related issues, on debt management, student loans, and so I have a lot of experience in terms of the mistakes that students make, the mistakes that families make. And so a lot of what we're going to talk about today comes from that, but also comes from my personal experience and what I'm hearing from students out and adults out in the world in terms of money management. So it's a kind of a sprinkling of all of those experiences that we're hearing about today. Mostly what I'm here to talk about is a new financial education and debt management program that FAME is bringing to the University of Maine at Augusta in a partnership with a company out of Massachusetts and UMA and FAME really partnered to bring this new tool to you. And it's called SALT. And I'm going to talk a lot about it today and take you through a demo of the site. Hopefully you've all received an email. Just to show hands, have you received an email about SALT? Here. Oh, excellent. I was at the Bangor campus yesterday, and a lot of students had received the email, and I had a lot of questions. First of all, is it legit? Is it spam? Should I really be, taking advantage of it? Yes, you should. It's real. The other question I got was from a student who said, are your loan counselors, are they real people, or are they in India somewhere who are going to help me? Bless you. The good news is they're real people, so not only do you have access to the online tool, which is really helpful and beneficial, and I'm going to take you through a demo of that, but the most important feature, in my opinion, of SALT is that you have access while you're in school and indefinitely while you're in loan repayment to loan counselors and money coaches, actual experts who are not working for the federal government. They're not a collection agency. They don't hold your loans in terms of they're not collecting your money. They really exist to help you navigate repayment. And you can call them now. So maybe you're in a situation where you're trying to figure out how to sign up to make your interest payments on your unsubsidized loan and you can't quite get through that process. Unfortunately, it's not that easy. You can call them now. Now, does everyone have the SALT wallet card? Anybody not have one of these? Because I have extras if you need. The SALT wallet card is just a plastic wallet card that has the SALT website, so it's saltmoney.org. It has the member support phone number where you can call if you need help in terms of signing up your account. I'm going to walk you through that today. There is also the phone number and email for loan counseling. So again, this is free support to manage the whole picture, your finances and your loans, all of it. This product is not just for students who have student loans. That's another thing that's important to remember. Every student at UMA has access, regardless of whether you have loans or not. It doesn't matter whether you're a first-year student, a senior, or even a graduate. Recent graduates from UMA will also have access to this tool. So the card includes the loan counseling's phone number, very, very helpful, the email. They also have a Facebook page. So for those of you who have Facebook, maybe you have a Facebook page. So if you have Facebook, like SALT on Facebook, because what I like about their Facebook page is they give you daily tips and and suggestions in a quick sort of, piece of advice as opposed to a textbook. I don't know about you, but I'm busy. I want things in quick bites of information. I don't want to read the entire textbook on how to save money. So they'll give you daily tips on Facebook. Sometimes it includes video, sometimes it includes, a link to an article or a blog. A lot of great helpful tips on the Facebook page. So I definitely make sure that you take a look at that. I also handed you just a reminder that the magnet is just a reminder of some resources that you have access to. One is the FAFSA website. It's a reminder to do your FAFSA. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. The link to the federal student loan website where you can track your federal loans, although SALT has some ways for you to track that information that I'll show you today. And then another website where you can go to get average or median salary for a particular career that you might be interested in. How many of you know for the program that you're pursuing or that you plan to pursue, sort of your ultimate dream job, how many of you know what that is? Okay. And how many of you know sort of the average or estimated salary for that job? Just to show it. That's really important knowledge to have now. If you don't have a sense of what's my expected salary, the reason that's important is that once you're in that profession, what if you're someone who has more loan debt than you can afford to repay based on that salary? You need to sort of know as early as possible if that's going to be the case, because there's a lot of options available to you for your federal loans in terms of flexibility at repayment. Lots of flexible repayment options. Really, no student should become delinquent or default on their loans, because there's all kinds of options available to you. I literally could spend the next 2 hours talking about this. But that's why we want you to know what your salary is. We want you to know what you owe. We want you to know what your student loan debt is, so that when you get into that repayment time frame, if there's a real disconnect between your earnings and your debt, you know that you need to pick up the phone and ask for help, because there is help available. So that magnet just gives you some helpful websites to gather that information. In terms of salary, the website is helpful. You can talk to career services here, talk to people who are currently working in the profession to find out how much do you make. Do you make that much initially? Is there an increase in salary over time, that kind of thing. Talk to people, get a sense of what your potential earnings are. Try to limit your debt, obviously. Again, we'll talk more about that. The FAME Money Management Toolkit. This is a guide that we created that is 8 steps to becoming financially savvy. We have a new version coming out, and it's 10 steps, and we'll have that content on our website. When I give this to students, I don't expect that you're going to tackle all 8 or 10 steps. This is a guide that we created for high school students, college students, and adults, because the reality is the 10 steps pretty much stay the same regardless of how old you are, and what stage in life you're in. The 10 steps are pretty standard. So I'm going to talk about those a little bit later when we get through the SOLVE demonstration, but I want you to know that that information is available. We have a financial education page on the FAME website that is very helpful as well.